living from appreciation. And what hit me was, well, how do we do that whenever we're confronted with what's going on in other parts of the world? And things are going on in other parts of the world all the time. And then sometimes we're just flooded with information that would leave us almost feeling guilty about living in appreciation, or confused about why that is even a possibility. But what you might notice is that these events that happen in our lives and in the lives of others and in other parts of the world can often leave us feeling more grateful for the luxury we have of being able to even look in this direction. I noticed in my own life a few times when I was ready to pounce about certain situations on people, I kind of held back. I kind of noticed myself holding back, just living a bit more in a sense of peace and appreciation. And so sometimes what we might notice is that these feelings of gratitude and appreciation and joy, our true nature, get to rise to the surface in times of trouble, and also get to rise to the surface in times of quiet. A quiet mind will often leave us feeling appreciative of all that we have and all that we get to explore and do and see in the world. And appreciation, as Dominic and I see it, is the cornerstone to a miraculous life. That feeling that we live in is the cornerstone to a miraculous life, an experience of life where you are allowing more miracles and more feelings of love and joy and appreciation to come through. The way that I have seen in my life appreciation rise is, as I said, is witnessing, unfortunately, other people's lives going to pot and hell and realizing, damn it, I'm blessed where I am. But we don't want to use just the lives of others as the catalyst to live more from appreciation. But we want to also see that these feelings of appreciation are just who we are. It's just the feeling we live in when we're not lost in the babbling thought system of a noisy mind. When we're not up against a ton of insecure thinking, when we're not up against what you may have heard me describe in the past as Bob, the drunk guy in our head. He's the one that's screaming obscenities and taking you away from any feelings of appreciation and gratitude. He's the one that would have you convinced that you can't possibly be living in appreciation given what's going on for other people in the world. And yet, the way we can serve humanity is in living from that feeling more. The collective feeling of love does more healing for you personally and for the whole world than any complaining, moaning about things, looking in the direction of what you don't have, looking in the direction of what's not working. That's just symptomatic of a tired state of mind. And that's why I will continue to encourage you to come back to taking care of you first. As you take care of you, however that looks for you, you naturally begin to experience that innate feeling of joy, appreciation, aliveness, inspiration. And as we live from there more and more, it grows. This is the beautiful thing about it. As we live more and more in that feeling, it grows. We start to see and feel more and more of what we're appreciative about. And it yields to us a completely fresh experience of life, a completely new world without anything having to dramatically change on the outside. I can't think of a quicker way to experience a change without having to, you know, dismantle everything and start again, than feeling that appreciation and living from that space. So this week, we really want to encourage you to just be interested in that feeling, be more interested in taking care of you and letting that feeling rise back up within you, than being interested in worrying about your situation, worrying about your physical state, judging what's going on in yourself, judging what's going on elsewhere. Just become a bit more interested in the moments that you notice that feeling of appreciation. It yields miracles. Not only does it leave us feeling in a beautiful, living in a beautiful feeling, but it actually allows for a more miraculous experience of life. And appreciation is kind of what I also like to describe as an active faith. There's a line in the Bible that says, faith without works is dead. And what that really points to, at least as I see it, is that there's no point just having faith. There's some level of action behind it, some works that need to take place. This feeling of appreciation is a beautiful act of faith, because it literally is activating within us this energy and this vibration and this love and this joy. And you cannot help but action from there. You know, no one gets into that feeling and kind of just sits on the couch watching, you know, TV, wondering what they're going to do with their lives. Normally we get into that feeling and we open up energetically. We open up, we kind of, our hearts begin to open. We might think about people we haven't thought about in a long time. We might reach out to people. We become more generous. And then as we innocently go back into the insecure mind, we notice a kind of tension, a stress, a closing down of the mental bandwidth, where we don't feel as connected, we don't feel as open. Some might describe that as even a lonely feeling. But this act of faith is important, because when you're really living from appreciation and you're living in this act of faith, And I'll give some examples of that in a moment. You can't not experience miracles. So we get in this beautiful feeling of appreciation and love and joy and aliveness and inspiration. And then we act from there. We take action from there. We are guided on what to do, say, follow. And there's been many times in my own journey where, you know, active faith really had to play it really preceded the miracle. You know, I would sort of have a desire to do something or go somewhere, but not necessarily have the financial backing to go and do that. I remember when I wanted to work with Michael Neal. Some of you will know Michael from the Three Principles community. And I just knew that was my next step. And I thought we were just going to kind of work together on a few months program. But in fact, he invited me to be his apprentice in 2016. And it was going to be $75,000. There was no sign of $75,000. But there was an active faith and knowing, yes, this is the next step. This is the direction that I'm to go in. And so it was really about taking the first step. That's what active faith is really all about. We live from appreciation and we take the next step. And that first step, that active faith first step was, I can figure out a deposit. Can you wait? Can you handle that? Can you be patient with that? I can figure out a deposit. And in moving in that direction, I witnessed throughout that year, and not only during that year, prior to that and after that, I witnessed how every time I took action with my faith, everything that I needed showed up. Now, it wasn't that I just sat on my couch and meditated for a year. It was just a general trust that it was going to take place, that it was going to be provided for. And my job was to be the channel through which everything was going to come through. So this active faith piece, it might look risky to some of you. It might look a little bit scary. How do I say, like, I really want to do something, or I really want to have this miracle, or I really like to follow this true desire, but I don't see the way forward? It's really looking at, well, as you live in appreciation, as you live in that feeling, you will be guided and you will act. You will take that first action step, no matter how bold or how risky it looks to the world. Some of you have heard my story before of, you know, like, well, I'm supposed to be in New York and I actually don't have any money in the account for that. All I've got is a flight. Active faith, get on the flight. Now, I had phone calls up until that point with people interested in working with me, but nothing was deposited in my account the morning I was getting up to get on that flight. And yet I crossed the Atlantic, and on the other side, the money's there. Someone has said yes, and the money's in the account. Now, I'm not saying we have to do active, there's a way to do active faith. My way is not, this isn't a how-to. It's just to help you see that there's a level of action that you will be inspired towards as you're living in appreciation, as you're following your guidance. There's a level of active faith that allows for the miracle to unfold and to occur. And so if we can do anything this week and beyond this week, it's to really see that appreciation, that feeling is our true nature and is what we're looking for and precedes that incredible miracle, that guidance towards that action. But best of all, serves humanity, serves everybody around you. Because you're living in that feeling of well-being. So it's a kind of essential selfishness, if you like, that you would take care of you first, that you would do whatever you know to do or not do to allow for your mind to quieten down and that feeling of appreciation to come back to the surface, because it's always there.